Hey, howdy-ho, Lions fans. Welcome to the Detroit Lions podcast, episode 296. This is the official Detroit Lions podcast for Reddit. I am your most dashing host, Chris, and I was dashing today. And with me are my good friends and co-hosts, the Riz and Tony T.O. Ortiz, the guys, the Miller's crew this week. How about that, huh? How you guys doing?
Still recovering from the calories on the ozone.
Yeah.
Baby. Those were something else.
Those were great. That hamburger was awesome. So
yeah, it was good. Thank you guys for joining. It was a good time to go out and have some good chat and some good chow, and now gotta go on a detox for 2 weeks, but that's okay. All right, we're gonna do this. This is, you know what we got going on. It's our game preview. We're gonna talk about the preview with the Atlanta Hawks? No, the Falcons. Silly. They're both birds, though. Cats like birds. We'll go over the injury report real quick. We'll have some game predictions, some Vegas stuff, and a whole lot more. We got a great show lined up. Pants off, baby. You ready to go, Riz?
Let's do it.
Let's kick this off and break it down.
All right, as we unbuckle, we'll do a couple of quick announcements first. Check us out and help us out on Patreon. Very special thanks to Dylan from... His mic may not work now.
my headsets might not work after that.
It's real. Got carried away. I'm home alone right now for like the first time in forever, so I'm trying to be a little obnoxious.
Yeah, go for it. That's good. That's
more so than normal.
That's good. Just remember, Case on our very, 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 very first post-game show thought it would be funny to maybe have a little too much to drink, and he wound up with
I'm toast.
And that was it for him for the show. He passed out. He passed out while doing a show. That's my guy.
We're mild tonight. Low octane beer.
Good stuff. Lesson learned. All right. Also got to thank our very first donor, Mathis, Brian Burkheiser from I Prevail, and Floundericious, who's hit the St. Jude thing hard already. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Join on them, Riz, everybody at the Slack chat. And how do you do that? You go over to patreon.com/Detroit Lions podcast. Set yourself up with a monthly donation of at least $1. Help support the show. Send us all around to Senior Bowl. Bring you all the important things at training camp, all the stuff we do. And you get access to the Slack, which is the most intelligent Lions chat in the on the internet. And on the top, very in bold there, Riz, you can see the dumb Fs. channel, which is a great channel.
My personal favorite.
Tony, I'm going to get you on right after this. I got to get your email anyway, because it's the other thing. So we'll get you in there. You can chat with everyone and see some of the fun that goes on. At least you can lurk. Patreon.com/Detroit Lions podcast. Great place to help us out and get yourself some access to the most intelligent chat on the internet. Give us a like on Facebook, facebook.com/The Detroit Lions Podcast, Instagram, Detroit Lions Podcast. Did you catch that? And on Twitter at DET Lions Podcast, DET Lions Podcast. Give that a follow because Riz is running around. How, Riz?
With no pants on.
Tony's only got one leg in. We're working on him. Subscribe.
That's as far as it goes.
Subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/Detroit Lions Podcast, youtube.com/Detroit Lions Podcast, and you can hit the playlist there of DLP clips, and you can get the clips notes, most important version of what's going on in the show. When you don't have the time, we still make time for you with the DLP clips. Rate us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Amazon, all those places, wherever you find us. Give us those 5 stars, please. If you can't see 5 stars, like we say, head on over to the subreddit and tell us why. You got it, Tone. Tone knows what's up. And we'll make sure we'll get you to a point where you can give us those 5 stars. Give us a call via Skype, Detroit Lions Podcast. Detroit Lions Podcast, all one word, on the Lions line at 929-33-LIONS. It's 929-335-4667. Leave us a message and get a chance to hear yourself on the show. Let's do it.
Tighten your chin straps, kids. It's time to review this week in Reddit.
All right, let's talk about all the fun and exciting things going down this week in Reddit. And, of course, got to let you know not to forget the post-game show right after the Lions game with Sandman. Every week, every game, we're here live doing either the therapy session or we're having your post-game celebration. It's a good time. And we'll tell you whether we think it's going to be a celebration or therapy at the end of this show. So listen in tight. All right, we're going to do a preview. We always start these with a little bit of a history of the meetings between the teams. And some of you know, or that have been watching on Twitter, I traveled back from Detroit, back to my hometown, or not my hometown, but back to Tampa, where I make home right now. And on the way home from the airport, had a minor accident, a little car jiggle-jaggle, and I didn't get a chance to get all the history put together. So I'm going to count on you, Tony and Jeff, to help me with the history. There's one, I mean, it's probably not going to be the one that everyone thinks of because Riz reminded me of this one. I think that was a repressed memory. But the one thing that I have in history that I'll never, ever forget is Matt Ryan's career debut with over 500 yards against the team.
Oh,
that one
God.
Still stings today because I was like, Matt Ryan. This is back when, you know, you'd get your quarterback, you draft him, and most of them were garbage, right? You couldn't look like Justin Herbert or Tua or any of the guys that are looking pretty decent right out of the gate. It was like Matt Ryan stepped out. I'm like, oh, we're going to smoke him. Nope.
Yeah.
500 yards.
And what year was that? That was 2008.
Yep.
It was a sign of bad things to come.
Was an omen. So I'm going to look to you guys. Riz, why don't you just drop the bomb that I think everyone's thinking of anyway, and I repressed? Why don't you tell them?
Oh, yeah, and I had to write it up for Lions Wire this morning, and it was not fun to do it. It's the last meeting. 2017, week 3. You had a 2-0 team against a 2-0 team. And it's the 10-second runoff. When that rule was introduced to everybody, except apparently Matthew Stafford, because he knew. I actually included the clip in the Lions Wire piece from the NFL, and in that piece, it talks to several different Falcons, including their coaching staff, and they didn't know that it was going to happen. So A, that's how on the ball that Matthew Stafford is, and B, it's how frustrating it was because nobody freaking knew the rule that if Golden Tate goes conservatively 6 inches more, it's a moot point on his route. But he didn't. He got stopped. I've Zapruder filmed it several times. He probably did get stopped. I'm gonna trust the eye in the sky on that one.
Let me ask you, in your view from the grassy knoll, did you see? Do you think that that's the one game that had we won that we'd have been a playoff team that year?
Yes, it was, and I'll tell you why. Because we went 9-7, Atlanta went 10-6, and Atlanta got the 6th seed in the playoffs. And oh, by the way, went to the Super Bowl that year.
Mm-hmm. It could have been us giving it all away, like we were so good at.
That is the ultimate frustration. That game right there, you can point to as to why Jim Caldwell got fired because of the 10-second runoff rule. It's not the only reason, but it is certainly a big contributing factor. Because if they win that game, They are in the postseason, and they are taking the place of the Super Bowl runner-up NFC champion Atlanta Falcons in that because of 6 inches and 10 seconds. That's not my college love life. That's what happened in that game.
No, you can aspire to it though, Jeff. That's absolutely the truth, and that's a hurdy. That's a hurdy for a long time. Tony,
no, and what? So even more irony on it. Just to go back, they had third and goal or third down from the 17, and they threw it into the end zone, and it was a pass interference call on Desmond Trufant against Marvin Jones in the end zone that set that play up before it too. Just to tie it together with a current Lion who will actually be back this week.
Now, I will say that it probably would have been the same sort of outcome where the Lions gave up 30 points to lose the game in the end.
They did. They lost 30-26.
Yep. And they had the big lead. Well, how many point lead did they give up there in the fourth quarter?
That I don't.
Atlanta, I forget.
They were winning.
It was the big one they gave up to the Patriots, right? Where they just folded up in the fourth quarter and got meltdown. That could have been the Lions. And looking how we played this year, we would be the team that gave up the big lead.
We actually they traded the lead quite a bit in that game.
Was that
we
the
were
one?
down? We were down 23-13 at one point.
No, I'm sorry. I'm talking about the Super Bowl. The Falcons.
The Super Bowl,
28-3.
Yes, Atlanta was up 28-3, and then choked like dogs or birds.
That's like you guys were looking at me like, what is he talking about? I'm like, everybody knows this. What's going on?
They keep doing it too because they're fun.
That could have been us.
They fired their coach for a reason. Let's put it that way.
That could have been us, guys. All right, hey Tony, you have some history that you'd like to talk about with Atlanta and Detroit. What do you got going on?
Yeah, it's show and tell time on this one, guys, because this is the actual credential. I hope you can see it.
Yeah.
From London.
Ooh.
International series.
It was 2015 when the Lions and Falcons, 15 when the Lions, or 14, excuse me, when the Lions and Falcons got together. It says it right here, 14. When they got together, and that was the game where Matt Prater hit the field goal at the end to win it in London, and that was another game where the Falcons had that big lead, and the Lions came back and ended up winning that game.
There's a lot of similarities
here.
There's a lot of similarities between Mr. Stafford and Mr. Ryan, maybe.
There definitely is.
And they're good friends off the field too. Their wives are together. They play in the same church league basketball team together.
They were like
their wives, by the way.
A co-ed 4-person team, the boys and the girls together. That's interesting.
Right there.
This might be the last time, by the way, Matt Ryan plays in this rivalry, Falcons-Lions, because they're going to clean house, new GM, probably a new head coach, unless Raheem Morris gets the backing of the players and the new GM wants him along. But if they clean house, Matt Ryan could be one of the first pieces to go, and they might bring in a younger quarterback, Trevor Lawrence, or somebody along those lines. So we'll see what happens.
That's interesting because they're in a very, very similar spot to the Lions. They have been, other than they've had more success, but it has been a very, very parallel path for Matthew Stafford and Matt Ryan over the course of their careers, and that they are such good friends. It just really ties together. I don't know. Does Matt Ryan know Clayton Kershaw? Do you guys know? All right, well, let's go right into it. Let's talk a little bit about injuries. And you know when you're hurt, when the pain's there, what do? You go to cbd.detroitlionspodcast.com. You kill that pain with a little bit of CBD. Feel good. The oils, the gummies, the creams, it all works. You can get it at cbd.detroitlionspodcast.com. I won't do it too long of a read here, but anxiety, sleep, and pain, those three things. And for localized pain, the cream is awesome. I just tried it on a young lady in her 70s. Let me rephrase that. I gave some to my mom, and she tried it out, and she was very happy. I was just trying to be way too flowery in my language there, and I'm just going to stop real quick. Mom likes it. There you go. So with that, go to cbd.detroitlionspodcast.com and cure everything that ails you except your big foot in your mouth. All right, injury report. Tony, do you know who we have going on in the injury report right now?
At this point, I think Desmond Trufant is doubtful to play. I don't know if he's officially out yet, but I know
I'm looking at it right now. He did get ruled out. He is the only Lions player ruled out, which is good.
Tack McKinley for Atlanta is questionable for the game, but their guys, including Julio Jones, will play on Sunday, and that's huge for the Falcons offense because they're a much different offense, as Riz will tell you, when Julio Jones is in there as opposed to when Julio Jones isn't in there.
It's a radical difference. Matt Ryan's QB rating is, I think it's 47 points higher when Julio Jones is on the field than when he's not.
Oh God. So who are we going to put on Julio? It's not going to be our Warrior, is it? We've got Jeffrey Okudah doing the trial by fire continued.
Hey, I mean, Warrior has played very well. He's getting some love from Pro Football Focus. He's getting some love from Football Outsiders. He's getting love from a friend of ours, Bryce Rossler, and what he's doing now. He's looking like a viable. I don't want to call him a number one corner yet, but he's looking like he's certainly worthy of starting in the NFL and playing at a pretty high level. He's doing a great job. And by the way, he's also a really good tackler.
Yes.
That matters against Atlanta because Atlanta loves to get yards after the catch.
Well, it's an anomaly for the Lions too, right? To have a good tackler right now. So that's really good to have. Warrior is a guy that is interestingly, the first part of his career was kind of overshadowed by Slay, and he was young. He was a young kid and working his way up as a corner. It takes a little bit, but now the Okudah pick really kind of puts him again a little bit of second banana work, right? And here's a kid who's playing really, really well, scoring well, PFF, all the statistical kind of measures they're putting out there. He has like a mid to high 30s quarterback rating against. Right, he's just killing it.
7.5 or something. Yeah, it's really, really good.
Yeah, he's killing it. But it feels like it's happening kind of quietly, right? He's just not getting all the flash and the lights that you would think that a guy who's playing that well would get. I know it's early to start talking about his contract, but if he keeps this trajectory up, he's a guy that could command a lot of money, and a lot of people might not know just how good he is if they don't pay attention to cornerback play for this team. So we might wind up paying this guy more money than a lot of people think he might deserve. And I think they're going to be wrong because I love, you know it from the beginning, right, Riz? I might not have been able to say his name, but I've been a huge fan of our Warrior from day one.
Yes, absolutely. And that's another, as you budget forward down the road, that's a contract that they're going to have to pay, and that's where budget decisions come in. That's where paying Kenny Golladay $18 million a year could be a problem.
Yep.
If you only pay him $15 million a year, that other $3 can go to Warrior, or you can pay $15 million to a better receiver than Golladay and $3 million more to Warrior. Just fine.
So Tony, you were talking before the show that you wanted to double team Julio with Warrior and Jeff Okudah. I'm not sure that that's a sound strategy, but
no, I don't think that's a sound strategy because Calvin Ridley is playing really well right now. And look, if you concentrate on Jones and you concentrate on Ridley, Hayden Hurst can beat you as well, and he's a pretty good tight end.
He's good.
Yeah, this is an explosive offense. I mean, this is not the Jacksonville Jaguars. This Atlanta Falcons offense is good. They put up 40 on Minnesota, a team that I thought had a decent defense. Ooh. This is a team that can score. Yeah, I know. And then came Yannick Ngakoue in that trade. But they're a team that can score a lot of points quickly on a Lions team if they're not careful, if they don't play sound football like they did last week against Jacksonville. Believe me, this is a step up from the Jaguars. I think Riz would agree. This is not one of the worst teams in the NFL. This is a team that got off to a bad start and maybe right in the middle of the pack once they get everything going.
Their offense has been pretty potent, and specifically it's their passing offense. They do not run the ball all that well.
No.
But they have, they also have Russell Gage, who's having a really good year.
Yep.
I wound up getting him on a fantasy team just sort of as a lark, and he's done pretty darn well. Calvin Ridley is really good. Julio Jones is still Julio Jones. I know he's not what he used to be. He's still better than just everybody else. And he's going to be a problem. You're gonna have. I want to see a lot of Tracy Walker shadowing him, but then again, you're leaving Hayden Hurst on a linebacker, and he doesn't get a lot of publicity. But he's got a great backstory. I would encourage people to check that out from when he was in South Carolina, and B, also he's really good. He's taken over for Austin Hooper and has done a great job.
Let me ask you, Tony, and this is kind of a theme similar to the Chicago Bears theme. A lot of people don't want to admit that the Chicago Bears are as good as their 5-1 record, and they may not be, but it's been that idea that their quarterback is what pushed them over the top. What explains, if they have this potent of an offense in Atlanta, what explains this basically for them in particular, this terrible record that they have as a team?
You look at the other side of the ball, their defense is average at best. They do get some pressure on the quarterback, but the problem is their defense is just not as good as it should be. They're not. Look, and Riz, I hope you agree with me on this. I think the Lions have a better defense than the Falcons, and that's saying something.
Absolutely they do. Yes.
So, again, that's the problem. The Falcons' defense, The Falcons are going to get into a lot of shootouts. The problem is you end up losing most of those shootouts in the NFL, especially in a year like this where there's so much offense. So that's why they're 1-5. And look, let's be honest. Dan Quinn may not have been the answer as head coach there. I have a funny, sneaky suspicion that Raheem Morris is going to get more out of this Atlanta Falcons team than Dan Quinn did. Just a sneaky suspicion.
I could see that. I'm just looking at their ranks and their overall things on defense now. Their run defense is actually solid. They do not get run on much. Some of that is because their pass defense is atrocious, but they do actually stop the run fairly well. They only allow 4.1 yards per carry. That's better than what the Lions allow, and it is, well, everybody's better than the Lions in that. It's the 9th best in the league. They average allowing 97 yards per game on the ground, which is the 5th best mark in the league. Now, they only get run on 36% of the time, which is the 5th lowest amount. So that's corollary there.
Right.
But they are dreadful in their pass defense.
Yep.
8.4 yards per pass. That's 31st in the league. 71.7% completion percentage allowed. That's 30th. They allow 335 yards a game in the air. That's 31st. They do not pick the ball off very well, and they do get pressure, but they do not finish. They have a sack rate that's lower than the Lions' second opponent in a row. And now Atlanta, again, they get a much better pressure rate, but they do not finish. 3.23% sack rate. That's sacks per drop back. That's 30th in the league. The Lions are actually up to 25th in that stat right now. So,
and it's
another defense that is ripe for the picking through the air.
So our defense made that big jump last week. That really pushed them up. There's talk about how much blitzing they did, but it wasn't really the volume of blitzes that the Lions pulled off. It's the variety of who they sent that made the big difference last week. Riz, talk about that a little bit, and if we think we're going to see some of that again this week.
You know, I was just happy that I saw John Pennicini run a stunt with Romeo Okwara. That's all I ever wanted to see was one. I got one. They were much smarter in the way they attacked things. I loved having Danny Shelton and John Pennicini together on the defensive line, having de facto 2 nose tackles. They soaked up blockers. It allowed free range for Trey Flowers to have a big game. Romeo Okwara had a big game because of it, because if he's beating the tackle, the guard can't be there to help. They did run some well-timed blitzes. Again, they didn't blitz a lot, but just the fact that they played zone defense more.
Yep.
The linebackers specifically, and Jared Davis very specifically in his 11 plays, which Eric Schlitt broke down on Lions Wire, by the way. He diagrammed every one of them. Please check that out because he did a really good job with it. He's looking at the play. He's looking at the quarterback the whole time instead of looking at the receiver. He's able to flow. He's not worried. He doesn't have his back turned. The safeties didn't have their back turned. The cornerbacks, who are fantastic. Okudah is a monster in run defense, and he showed it last week because he's in zone. He can come off of his man a lot easier and attack, and it shored up the run defense. And God is my witness, it pains me to say this, but Matt Patricia was right in his theory about improving the run defense will make the pass defense look better. Damn it, he got it right.
And he took so much heat for that. Go ahead, Tony.
And I gave it to him.
Yep.
Because it was not what I wanted to hear. You tell me how you're going to fix your anemic, pressure rate and get more pressure on the quarterback, and you tell me that you're going to try to stop the run better. I'm going to stick my middle finger up your ass. And I tried to do that. And he shoved it right back up mine, and he was deserving to do that because I think he stumbled onto it accidentally, quite honestly, playing more zone. And I'm not sure that it will work as well against Atlanta because they have dynamic receivers, and that's something that Jacksonville did not have. They didn't have a number one receiver that commanded a lot of attention that you can't just zone up because he'll kill you after the catch then too.
Mm-hmm.
So it was. I hope that it's not just a 1 week thing, but I don't think we're going to see it as much against Atlanta. But God, please say that the principles that they learned last week are still in play, and we'll see them more throughout the year.
And let's give Matt Patricia a little bit of credit here. I know this is going to be hard for you.
He deserves it, man.
But he deserves credit for actually coming out of his self-imposed shell because he likes playing defense a certain way. He loves man coverage. He loves getting pressure on the court. He was willing to adjust, and that's something that speaks to his maturity as a head coach.
That's all we wanted. Do that against Chicago when we're not having this conversation. God. That's what's so aggravating, because you see that he can be a good coach. He just that's where I'm at with it.
By the way, guys, want some breaking news here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Antonio Brown is working towards an agreement with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
I'm telling you, it's crazy town in Tampa right now. Besides the whole accident thing with the Lightning, the Bucks, the Super Bowl being here, the Rays, and it's a crazy place. I mean, you see Tori Petrie right on Twitter; she's just off the hook over this Rays thing. It's like that. The whole town is literally just on fire. It's a light. I mean, not literally, figuratively on fire. It is a light with energy over the sports teams here. It's crazy because it's a big small town. Antonio Brown, that's something. I wonder, he could be the piece that puts it all together or that tears it all apart. That's really interesting.
They've got Mike Evans. They've got Chris Godwin. They've got
Rob Gronkowski.
Scotty Miller's playing really well.
Yep.
They got Cameron Brate's a great tight end. They got dudes. That seems like unnecessary gasoline onto a fire to me. From afar. We'll see. I don't know.
We'll see.
Put the gas can away.
Their defense looks pretty good against Green Bay too. I mean, I'm telling you, what a team! When they said, "Oh, Tom Brady's coming,"
wasn't that fun watching them flummox Aaron Rodgers and turn him into a whiny little bitch?
I loved him and Sue toe to toe. Oh, it was like gold times again. I loved it.
It was very, very nice watching Ndamukong Suh get under his skin again. Every Lions fan, no matter how you felt about Sue, you got to be like, "That was nice. That was fun to watch."
Yep. Oh, that was good. No, it was funny. They thought that bringing Brady in was the panacea for this team this year, around town, right? And while it helped, everything else has seemed to really click for them. So we'll see how that goes. But that was a great game.
They got a good coach. That helps a lot.
They do.
Yeah, they sure do. He was not quite hitting it in Arizona, but boy, he has grabbed the bull by both horns down here. That was the transition from Arizona through Houston to Tampa, the bull reference there. All right, we'll talk really quickly about St. Jude. Don't forget, we've got our 24-hour podcast-a-thon. It's like a telethon, if you didn't know, coming up on November 6th. We're going to start at 9 a.m. Eastern on November 6th, and we're going to go all the way around the clock till 9 a.m. on November 7th. And we've got a lot. We've got some huge names like Tony Ortiz is going to join us. That's a big name.
It's not that big a name. It's a really small name.
But he's going to reveal some big stories in a conversation with him and Brandy and Dan Miller.
Maybe.
We're getting.
If they threaten me, I may not be able to do that.
We're getting the band back together for the first time, so that'll be great. That'll be fun.
I'm excited for that.
Billy Sims, Dan Orlovsky, Blandino, some other folks all coming through. We got a lot going on. It's going to be a big deal. A lot of great different folks joining us for interviews and a lot of good stuff going on. Again, November 6th. We gave you Detroit Lions podcast, but St. Jude got around to it. I guess their IS department or IT department is almost as good as ours. And if you go to stjude.org/DLP, you will see the site. It is the donation site. That way you get your tax-deductible receipt right there on the fly. We don't have to handle any money. It just goes right straight to St. Jude. It's a great way to go. And we just kind of mentioned it off the cuff here. $160. Boom, right there. We haven't even really started anything yet. And Floundericious came in, and he's put the challenge down.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So if you head over to stjude.org/DLP, you can see the page. It's got our stuff and how much we've made so far, what we're going for. It'll talk about everything. It's kind of going to be the homepage with the YouTube page when we go and do this live 24-hour podcast-a-thon, and it'll bring in all the new donors. It'll be all on the screen, so you get to see everyone's name as it goes, and you'll be able to track it like a thermometer bulb as the numbers go up. So a lot of really good stuff there, and it also has a schedule of who's coming when and all that kind of stuff. A lot of stuff there. stjude.org/DLP. Give big. Let's give these kids Christmas they remember. And let's kick cancer's butt.
Please do.
Yes. All right, let's talk about some of the matchups. We've talked a little bit about Julio Jones. You brought him up, Tony, so I'm gonna drop him in your lap. Who other than Julio is your matchup of the week?
The matchup that concerns me the most is the Lions' defensive line against the Falcons' offensive line. Look, I watched the Falcons play the Vikings, and I was not impressed by that offensive line. I thought Matt Ryan was running for his life at times. They didn't open up very many holes for I just blanked out on the running back, former Ram, Todd Gurley. Thank you. I Did not see them open up. Yeah, I didn't see them open up a lot of holes for Todd Gurley. I thought Matt Ryan was scrambling a whole lot. If the Lions can put some pressure on that offensive line, get Matt Ryan out of the pocket, make him scramble around, shut down those running lanes for Todd Gurley, I think that's a huge matchup, and I think the Lions could win this game if their defensive line takes control and runs the tempo for this game.
Sounds good. All right, Riz, what are you thinking about? What's your key matchups for the game?
I am worried about Grady Jarrett in the middle of that Atlanta defense.
Mm-hmm.
He is really, really good at what he does. He has the same advantage that Aaron Donald and Geno Eck is doing, that he's really short, but long-armed and quick off the snap. He's going to give – I love Frank Ragnow. He's having a Pro Bowl year. He is a challenge for Ragnow just because of the style that he plays. And with the guard situation that we've got, it's working. Let's hope it keeps working, because Grady Jarrett is a guy that can mess up. And the guy next to him, Tyler Davidson, that guy can play a little bit too.
He's good too. Yep.
He is an up the field guy. You can run behind him, but he can definitely create pressure up the middle. It might be a game where you see more of I'm blanking on our fullback, the linebacker.
Oh, Jason Kabinda.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, Jason Kabinda. In pass protection, I think you could see more Kerryon Johnson in this game in pass protection,
yes,
because of the way that they generate pressure. They love to do it up the gut, and they blitz well in the A gap. They can bring guys from the second level. Their linebackers are very much built on speed. They are not guys who are going to stop Adrian Peterson in the open field, though. So I also think that you're going to see some Adrian Peterson in the game to sort of counter that too. It's a very different strategy. It's a very different type of opponent than we saw last week. Even though their pass defense is wretched, like Jacksonville's was, the way that their defense is designed this is a game that Adrian Peterson should have a big day. His style of running in particular is going to give them problems, and I hope that he wins that battle, and the line can keep Grady Jarrett, Tyler Davidson, and actually their number 3 guy, De'Adrian Sennett, is a pretty good guy too. They've got dudes up front. They're not playing well. It doesn't show it. Specifically in the passing game, but they are really good at getting you into like 3rd and 7, 2nd and 9, but by snuffing out the run early. That's going to be a key for the game for me.
Yep.
And Chris, to follow up on something Riz said, Raheem Morris, as a defensive coordinator, is a guy who likes his team to play fast. That defense does play fast, but they also make some huge mistakes, like Riz said, and sometimes those mistakes, when you play that fast, sometimes those mistakes can be fatal and catch up to you. And it almost they weren't going to blow the lead against the Vikings, but the Vikings did make an interesting comeback. Yeah, the Vikings made an interesting comeback in the fourth quarter, and I was like, this could be wretched for the Falcons. And look, they lost that lead to the Cowboys because that defense played fast, but they were also very sloppy, and that's something the Lions could take advantage of on Sunday.
I was going to make
you planted a seed for me, Tony. Not to interrupt, but Jared Davis is a Raheem Morris kind of guy.
That's exactly where I was going, Riz.
Hey!
But I was going to say it reminds me of Jared Davis because he plays fast, but he's slow in making the judgment, so he just can't. He misses it on both ends.
Raheem had linebackers like that when he was the head coach in Tampa Bay.
Yes, he did.
There's something to think about if they're trying to showcase Jared Davis. This would be a great weekend to do it, because Atlanta, they're not buying this for this year. They could be buying for the future. And getting a guy with his particular set of skills might actually appeal to Raheem Morris. Just thinking out of the box there.
Yep. You know when you hear a name and it like the name is inextricably linked to somebody from your history and your past or whatever. Every time I hear the name Grady, I think Grady from Sanford and Son. Remember him? Him? What was his name? Whitman Mayo played him.
Whitman Mayo.
Yeah. He was great. Great until Grady Jarrett, though, because he's a darn good player, and he's shaken the Grady aura a little bit. I know who he is. But Grady, I always think of him.
Can I give you one other? Go ahead.
I think of Gail O'Grady, the comely actress.
Oh, good memory.
The one-upper here. All right, go ahead, Tony.
When I hear Grady, I think of the caretaker from The Shining.
Oh, yeah. We're going to watch that. I'm going to watch that tonight with my family. My son hasn't seen that yet. I've told him how great it is. 15's about the right time to see The Shining.
Pretty much.
Give him some good things to dream about.
Go, check out the Snowcat, Wendy. Go, check it out.
Oh man, then I can pop in like 3 a.m. and wake him up. Here's Daddy. Oh, good time. All right, let me roll in. We talked about some of the matchups. What are the keys of the game here, Riz? I'm going to let you kick it off. Tell me what your key to the game for the Lions is on Sunday.
I brought it up a little bit. I want to see some Adrian Peterson. That should not come at the expense of DeAndre Swift, but it should come more prominent than it was last week, because I think he's a better matchup than Swift is against this defense, simply because of the power versus the speed component. I also want to see Matthew Stafford sharper, and specifically sharper early in the game. He came out last week, and until he had his run, he was dreadful at the start of that game. He got that scramble, got a little bit of action in there, and he's like, okay, now I'm good. And he dialed it down, and he dialed it in. These corners, as bad as the Lions receivers are at getting separation, and they have 3 guys that are in the bottom 10 of wide receiver separation, Atlanta's going to give them some space. If Stafford is dialed in at all, there is a lot of opportunities to attack, but he's got to be sharper. The wide receivers also have to do a little bit better. We talked at length when we were all together earlier this week about Marvin Jones. We're all in the same agreement there that he's got to play better, if he can even play better anymore. This is a good barometer game for Marvin Jones. If he can't get open in this game and can't produce in this game, it's probably not going to get better, guys.
Yeah.
Say that, but this is a game where Matthew Stafford should light it up. He should have. I'll personally will be disappointed if he doesn't have 300 yards passing and at least twice as many touchdowns as interceptions. He will probably throw an interception. Atlanta, for whatever reason, and Stafford has put some balls up. He will get a ball tipped at the line of scrimmage this week. Atlanta's good at that. Maybe that'll get caught. Hopefully it doesn't get run back, because that's a vulnerability there. But I really think the combination of the power up the middle and then the speed down the field, hitting Hawk in the slot, challenging Deion Jones, getting him out of the box. There's a lot of things that this offense can do proactively to make Atlanta's defense look even worse, and I hope that they do it.
Yep. Tony, how about you? Where's your head at here?
I'm going on the other side. I want to see the Lions defense withstand the early aggressiveness of the Falcons. The Falcons are going to come out. They're at home. They're playing for a coach that they like, that they want to see eventually get the head coaching job. So the Falcons offense is going to come out aggressive early, just like they did against the Vikings. So the Lions have to be able to withstand that early barrage, because the Falcons are going to want to score quickly, and they're going to want to get ahead of the Lions and kind of take over the game tempo-wise, use their running game, which hasn't been very good, and control the clock with passing, with short passes, ball control passes. So to me, if the Lions are mentally in this game, if they can withstand that early rush from the Falcons, they should be able to do a good job. But that's the matchup I'm looking for, because this thing could get out of control early.
Yeah, and that's a great point, Tony, because we have a team in Atlanta right now that is absolutely playing for the guy they want to be the coach. Yep. And we saw them last week do that. Is this sustainable or not? And this is going to be a key game for them for the season, and one where they really want to show what they have for this guy. So they are more than motivated, of course, to meet up with the Lions. It's the way our stuff always falls.
And guys, think about this. If the Lions win Sunday, some more added pressure for them. They're back at 500, and they're back in the race for a possible wild card, which means the Lions will be playing meaningful games at least in November. Maybe not December, but at least in November they will be playing some meaningful games.
Those November games will determine December, and then then comes the bifurcation of the fan base, right? It won't be a hive mind anymore.
It's going to be really tough for me to mentally reconcile the fact that I think that Matt Patricia is not doing a good job, and this team is 7-4. I'm going to have trouble with that, and it could very well happen. If you look out at the schedule, the Colts are reeling. They're looking to dump Phillip Rivers, from what it sounds like. It's not working for him there. They got Minnesota. They got easy games coming up.
Yeah.
They could get on a run here. It doesn't mean that they're good. It just means that they suck less than the teams that they're playing. And
It's kind of the Chicago situation.
That's good enough this year.
Yeah. It's truly what's happened in Chicago, right? I mean, that's exactly what's happened. They're not a superstar team, but they are.
Chicago is phenomenal at letting the opponents beat themselves. They're great at it. They will let you, if you're going to screw up, they'll let you.
Yep.
They will help you too. They're not all that good either, but they're 5-1. They got a winning formula working. I'm not gonna diss the Bears, especially since they're gonna go 6-1, because they're gonna beat the Rams, and that knocks the Rams back down into a range where the Lions can catch them for the wild card.
Yep.
Got to watch that NFC West, because that's where the other wild cards are.
Yep.
They're not coming from the South. They're not coming from the East.
So my keys here, I'm going to go in a similar space to where you ended up there, Riz. It's Matthew Stafford and the wide receivers. Those relationships out there. I've talked a lot about him, and we talked about, is he shaking rust, or is there something hanging on? Last week, he showed up, and it looked a lot like the old Matthew Stafford. He took that run. It seemed early, gave him a little confidence. I don't know if it was that gave him confidence. I don't know if it was the time off to heal him up. I don't know if it was just the rust finally knocking off. But Matthew Stafford had a really good trajectory last week with his gameplay versus the week before. He needs his wide receivers to step up. He needs those guys to catch balls, not drop balls, and he needs to take that next step forward in his productivity this year, and he's going to rely on them heavily. The other thing I look for is DeAndre Swift to take the next step, to actually start catching some of those balls and maybe catching them in space and using those that speed in those legs, that burst in those legs to get some nice yards under. So those, I think, for me, for the Lions, are the keys. I think it's going to be a lot of offense in this game, and what I've seen so far this year is we'll generate and then we'll freeze. And we just need consistent output all game from this offense, and that comes down to Matthew and the wide receivers and a little jiggle-jaggle from DeAndre Swift. All right, Vegas. Do you have anything on that, Riz, on where Vegas is? I got a little bit I'm looking at here if you don't.
I do not. No,
all right.
I don't have it in front of me.
I've got right now, not me, it's a Sportsbook Wire, but they've got the Falcons at minus 2.5 on this one. So, you're 3
that's
for being at home.
Pretty consistent. It was 2 earlier. It might have moved a little bit, but
yep. And the
Shop
over
around.
under at
please do your shopping.
Over under at 56, which was, I think it was 56 for the Saints game as well. Mm-hmm. And again, we're looking at
points.
But we've had no defenses anywhere in this league, it seems like, this year, really, as far as the points are up overall this year. I expect this again is the same number against the Saints. These are 2 productive offenses. If, as Tony says, the Falcons come out and score early, I can see us cracking the over as things settle down with their offense, and we produce what the number of points that I'll talk about later that I think we're going to produce. I'm a little bit leaning on the over. How about you guys?
Under.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. So the Falcons have not given up less than 23 points in any game, and I think that the Lions are going to get that much. Of course, you said it was 56?
Yeah.
56, yep.
So that would be 33. That's a lot of points. Yeah, I'm not touching that one, honestly. I think that's there's a reason why these people make money. They're good at what they do.
That's right.
That's one that I probably wouldn't touch. I would expect the over, but it wouldn't shock me if both these quarterbacks, we go back to that, they're both prone to having like 2 or 3 series in a row where they're like 3 and out and listless. And as much as we don't think that can happen with either of these defenses, sometimes the offense isn't very good either. I worry about that a little bit. So I wouldn't recommend that you bet the under, but if you're looking for a value, that might be a sneaky one, and that number might keep going up too.
Yeah. I'm sniffing the over on this one because I see 2 motivated teams that are going after it, and I think the motivation is going to be on. It's going to show itself on the offensive side of the ball more than it will on the defensive side of the ball. But sitting here listening to Tony, I'm getting self-conscious about it now because it very well could be both defenses get that inspiration to come in and play a tight game, and we have a real squeaker 7-3 or something silly like that.
Are you looking at my notes?
I'm not, but I did fax them over earlier. All right, let's do that. Let's talk about the final outcome since we've outed Tony's notes. Tony, why don't you lead us off with your prediction for the game?
Here's why I think it's going to go under. As much as I think the Falcons are going to be aggressive offensively, as much as their defense is bad, as much as I think the Lions are going to be aggressive offensively, there's so much at stake for both of these teams. I think they're going to actually play good defense for a change. I think the final score, if this was at Ford Field, I'd take the Lions. It's in Atlanta. So I'm going to go with the Falcons, and I'm going to go 24-20 Falcons.
They will have fans in the stands, too.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Inside. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, are they going to open the roof? We haven't heard that yet,
That's a good question. No, that's a good question. Although it's interesting to me that the Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta has a Chick-fil-A, but Chick-fil-A doesn't open on Sunday.
I don't understand that.
I don't get that.
It's like vacant office space. It's like we're open every day except when anybody's here.
Yeah, exactly. Makes no sense.
But they're in Atlanta. Their headquarters in Atlanta. It's probably some write-off scheme or something. You know how that.
Well, I'm sure it's open the other 6 days. Yeah, I'm sure it's open the other 6 days of the week. It's just the one day you kind of want a Chick-fil-A sandwich and sit and watch a game. You can't get a Chick-fil-A
and there's
sandwich
people in the stands. Right? I think they could sell more at a football game than at the truck pull, but what do I know? All right, Riz, what about your prediction? Where are you at, man?
That went off the rails fast. Thank you.
Wow. We'll sell you the whole seat. You'll only need the edge.
We'll sell you an old sandwich.
Those are great. They're actually great redneck fun. I grew up with that kind of stuff. I miss it a little bit.
Yep.
What did I write? I'm trying to find the score that I predicted that the Lions would win 31 to Atlanta's 28. So I picked them to go over. But I said maybe the strategy here is to slow play the entire game and head into the fourth quarter in a 3-3 tie, as unlikely as that might seem. So that's your point, Tony. Given how bad the Falcons' defense is, that seems quite unlikely. I sense a letdown for Atlanta in the second week of the interim regime of the Raheem Morris era after breaking through into the win column banner last week. That happens a lot with interim coaches, by the way. They win their first week and then they lose 3 or 4 in a row.
Exactly.
I can see that happening here, too. That's nothing against Raheem Morris, so I think he's a good coach. I think deserves another shot at a better head coaching job than this one. Although if he gets it, that's not necessarily a bad thing. If they're playing for him, they'll be spirited, but they do not have the level of talent on both sides of the ball to compete with this Detroit Lions team, and that is more about Atlanta than it is about Detroit.
Great.
And I'll tell you, though, if you're Raheem Morris and, you look at the trend of winning the first game and losing the second, there is nobody you want to face, because if there's ever somebody that's going to let you break a record, it's the Lions.
That is true.
Oh, man. All right, so even beyond my self-consciousness that Tony painted on me and that I'm sitting here wearing, I came into this thinking that this is going to be an offensive shootout between both teams. I just don't think that the defenses can stand up to the weapons, and I was going with a 35-31 Lions victory, which is far, far over, but every year you have that one game that's just insane scoring, and I feel like this is the one. The defenses are lined up. And in a year when scoring is high and defenses aren't able to stop teams, these two teams hungry and running at it. If it becomes a defensive shootout, blame Tony, and we'll go from there.
Thank you. I'll take that blame. Thank you.
All right. Really quick, don't forget about Amazon, amazon.detroitlionspodcast.com, amazon.detroitlionspodcast.com. You have a little bit of time to get your Halloween candy, not the stuff you're going to give out, the good stuff, the stuff you're going to keep around the house and fatten up for Thanksgiving so that you can eat all that turkey. You can't just put that in on a teeny stomach. You gotta train for this stuff, right? You don't get to look like this by just sitting around, okay? Let's just talk like that. So head on over to amazon.detroitlionspodcast.com. Any of your shopping goods. If you do it that way, it'll kick you right through to the site. They give us a little kickback. It doesn't cost you more, but they give us a little kickback off the profit, puts it in our pocket, and helps us do what we do over here. It's the same thing with Fanatics and all your sports gear and memorabilia and all that stuff. It doesn't matter what sport or what league. It's all there. Fanatics.detroitlionspodcast.com. Get the officially licensed stuff. High quality. Good to go. All right. Guys, again, thank you so much for the preview show. I love it. And thanks for going out to lunch this week. I had a blast with you guys. It was a great conversation.
It was a lot of fun. And guys, Big Ten football tonight. It's finally college football season.
I can't wait. I can't wait. And how long is the Big Ten going? How long is the season going to go?
8 games.
8 games. Okay, that's
games.
good.
They are done the third week of December, I think.
Yep.
It is.
Okay.
Like that.
So that still buttons in real nice with the Senior Bowl and Shrine Bowl and all the other stuff. Yeah. So draft, all the stuff that normally happens will happen.
I got to give a quick thing for the folks in West Michigan. We are back on the air on Sunday mornings. Jim Costa and myself, we are back in studio on Sunday mornings from 11 to noon. We're doing the Sunday Tailgate Show. We will be breaking down a lot of I'm a PJ Fleck sycophant, so we're going to talk a lot about Minnesota beating Michigan and also previewing the Lions and the Falcons game.
Nice.
96.1, tune in.
You could just record this. I'll give you the recording. You can phone it in, and then you can do one show and cover 2, Riz. And then you'll be consistent, too. All right, yes. Check out 96.1 post-game show right here, DetroitLionsPodcast.com. Check it out. We'll do that. It'll be Sandman and I, as we always do. Tony, anything you want to plug?
You know what? No, I'm good. No plugging this week. I might plug something in the near future, but not today.
All right, you plug anytime you want. You know, you got the freedom to plug as you feel.
You do. You've earned it.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I have to say, just having met this week, you are much, very, very good-looking man in person, much more so than compared to on TV. This whole pants-free thing is your future, my friend. All right. You just got to put a little bait out there.
That's scary for so many different reasons. But
we
thank
might
you
need
for
to
the
call this
compliment. I've learned how to take compliments, so thank you.
You just put the bait out there, and then you get the hook sunk, and you just start reeling. That's how it goes. All right. Remember, we need your involvement.
Yeah, pretty much.
Use the comments in the subreddit. Give us your feedback. We're down for that. Also, don't forget about us on Patreon. Patreon.com/Detroit Lions Podcast. Patreon.com/Detroit Lions Podcast. Get in there. Get access to the Slack for as little as $1 a month, but give your whole paycheck. We're down with that. That's good. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and, of course, on Twitter. Follow us on Twitter at DET Lions Podcast, at DET Lions Podcast, so you can see, I was going to say Case, but Riz is a lot taller. So you can see Riz with
no pants on.
Right. That's right. All right. Give us a call via Skype, Detroit Lions Podcast, or call us on the Lions line at 929-33-LIONS, 929-335-4667. Leave a message. We'll get you on the show. Be sure to go to DetroitLionsPodcast.com. Subscribe to the podcast so we can pop up into your ears automatically. Just that little amazing box in your pocket. Thank you for tuning in. We're going to see you next time on the Detroit Lions Podcast. Remember, no pants, no toasters, no hot tubs, no problems, baby, because we're your Detroit Lions and Reddit connection.